Yeah, well.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming. My name is Ernie Virgilio. I am the Mashpee Commissioner, and I have my fellow commissioners with me here at the table. Who please would introduce yourself from...
There's still about 30 people waiting to come in, just so you know.
Yeah, I think we have to start.
Meeting starts at 6:30. How about this? This thing working now? Yeah. Okay, thanks. Okay, Mary Pat?
I will start. My name is Mary Pat Flynn. I'm one of the 3 Barnstable County Commission. Can't hear me. How can I speak? That's for the film. Well, now can you hear me? Okay. Barely. My name is Mary Pat Flynn. I'm one of the 3 Barnstable County Commissioners. One of us is always assigned to be the Commissioner's representative to the Cape Cod Commission, different body. I am that representative to the Cape Cod Commission, and that is why I am here tonight representing the Commission.
My name is Royden Richardson, and I'm the Barnstable representative to the Cape Cod Commission. All right, you asked for it. My name is Royden Richardson, and I'm the Barnstable representative to the Cape Cod Commission.
My name is John McCormick, and I am the Yarmouth representative to the Cape Cod Commission.
My name is John Harris, and I'm the minority representative.
My name is Richard Roy, and I'm the Dennis representative.
Thank you. I would like to ask staff to please introduce themselves, Cape Cod Commission staff.
John Eidman, Chief Regulatory Officer with the Commission.
Elizabeth Perry, a Regulatory Officer with the Commission.
Gary Muse, Planner with the Commission. Jeffrey Ribeiro, Regulatory Officer with the Commission.
At this time, I would like to ask John McCormick to please open the substantive public hearing on the project by reading the notice.
This public hearing concerns the following project, which has been referred to the Cape Cod Commission as a mandatory development of regional impact, a DRI, and was previously limited in scope to certain regional policy plan areas by decision dated January 22nd, 2015. This project is being reviewed and considered for limited DRI approval. Project name, Spring Hill Suites by Marriott. Commission project number TR/RLR 14017. Project applicant, Falmouth Hospitality LLC. Project site location, 556 Main Street, Falmouth, Mass. Project description, proposed hotel containing 110 units. Associated site improvements will include paved parking, driveway and pedestrian areas, landscaped areas, outdoor amenities for hotel guests, a stormwater management system, and associated site utilities. Anyone wishing to testify orally will be welcome to do so. Written comments may also be submitted at the hearing or delivered or mailed to the Cape Cod Commission, P.O. Box 226, 3225 Main Street, Barnstable, Mass. 02630, for receipt on or before the date of the hearing or until the hearing is closed. The application to schedule an appointment application to schedule an appointment between the hours of 8:30 a.m. and 4:30 p.m.
Thank you, Jack. Before we get started here, is the list complete for people who would like to address here tonight? Is there?
I think we have a large list already, and we'll, when the public testimony portion begins, we'll bring that list up to you so you know who would like to speak.
Okay. The reason why I asked that question is, as you know, we certainly enjoy anyone's comments towards the meeting. However, with the room and the number of people that are in the room and probably the number of people that would like to speak, I will hold comments to a certain time limit that I haven't decided yet, but I will. And also, if I decide we're going to take a break, I'll announce that and we will take a break. Having said that, we'll go on further. At this time, I would like to invite the applicant to present the project.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the commission. For the record, Attorney Kevin Erickson on behalf of the applicant, Falmouth Hospitality, LLC. We're here before you tonight presenting the redevelopment of 556 Main Street. With me tonight is project engineer Joe Pesnola from Hancock Associates, Juliana Hawk, project architect. Robert Walker is the principal of Falmouth Hospitality, LLC. We've been tasked to present to this board regarding two specific items: heritage preservation and community character. The project is a redevelopment project. Currently on site, for those of you who were there at the site walk or otherwise might be familiar with the site, are existing structures in various states of disrepair. The project is, the lot rather is a 2.03 acre lot approximately, with impervious area, parking, various businesses. It's located in a business redevelopment zone. The use is allowed in a business redevelopment zone. I'd like to briefly invite Joe Pesnola up to speak about the site generally in a little bit more detail, and then Juliana to present specifically as to the architecture and how this project fits in with the heritage preservation and community character guidelines of the Cape Cod Commission. And certainly we're here to answer any questions that the commission may have.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the Commission. Again, for the record, Joe Pesnola from Hancock Associates. We did do a full existing condition survey on the property. The property is, again, known as 556 Main Street. It's bounded to the south by Main Street, to the east by properties of Duggan and Korea, to the north by property of Kavanaugh and Gould, and to the west by the Pondview Park condominiums. It is the commercial site is 2.03 acres, as Attorney Erickson said. The project also includes three Lantern Lane, which is a property also owned by the Fays. That is a residential house. It's the first house on the left. That is another 7,800 square feet, so it's about 2.2 acres in total. We do propose to raise all of the structures, all of the commercial structures on site, but that three Lantern Lane will, the Fay house will remain in its state, and it will continue to be used as a residence. The site has various structures, outstructures in various states of disrepair. Lantern Lane runs through the center of the site, and last summer we went to discontinue or to modify that first section of Lantern Lane to create just an access easement in that area, so that we basically created all of the property into a single lot. That was the first step that we needed to take. We'll be making modifications to the site to change the topography, to more address the grades on Main Street, and to fix some of the ongoing drainage problems out in that center section, that low depression area. As I said, we will be raising all of the structures on site. And the plan is to build the hotel in two pieces. There'll be the main building on the right-hand side. That'll have all of the guest services, the main reception desk, an indoor pool, and Juliana can go into some of the additional details of the interior. But that's the main core that lands on the ground. On the left-hand side, there'll be parking, and in the back, there'll be parking that will be under the building above. There'll also be some on-street parking and a drop-off area. There'll be a pedestrian connection between the two buildings on the second and third level, and some additional parking out back. And this is the only surface parking that won't be under the building. The portion on the left has 2 levels above. The portion on the right has 1.5 above. There's landscaping that we're proposing all around the perimeter of the site, and some outdoor amenities on the easterly portion of the site, and pedestrian improvements along Main Street, where we'll expand the existing sidewalks, add some park benches on the sidewalks for the general public, landscaping improvements, street trees. We'll also be providing some connection between the buildings themselves, addressing the street with some paver areas and just some different materials, both landscaping and hardscaping, just to bring the building down to that Main Street level and really beautify that whole stretch. As I said, we'll have grading and stormwater and various utility improvements on site, and all of that has been designed and is part of our package. At this time, I would like to turn it over to Juliana so she can go over kind of the building itself, which really is what we're proud of with this project.
Yes.
The commission will be making a presentation in some of the same architectural renderings you'll see in the slides the commission has in its presentation.
I don't have the ability to raise this.
Could you come to the center?
If you put them on the podium right behind you, you might be able to see.
Walk down the middle. Walk down the middle. Seriously. You're here to present it. Walk down.
Excuse me. We're here to present. We're doing that.
Okay, hold on, please. Hold on.
Mr. Chair, I'd ask for a little bit more decorum from the audience. We're doing our best to make this presentation. We brought poster boards. We appreciate the comments, but we're hearing a lot of them. And frankly, it's a disruption.
At this time, he's going to make his presentation. We have our staff that will have a screen version, and you'll all be able to see it at that time. Go forward, please.
Thank you.
For the record, I'm Juliana Hoke with Joe LaGrasse Architects. I'm the architect on this presentation. Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, I'd like to present the architectural portion of this project. This Marriott Suite, Spring Hill Suite Hotel is divided into 2 buildings, as was mentioned by Joe. There's a building to the west and east of what is now Lantern Lane with a pedestrian bridge that connects the upper levels of the hotel. These buildings are located along Main Street in order to help define the building edge and enhance the pedestrian experience and the village center tradition. The multi-storied height along Main Street is consistent with larger buildings in the area and incorporates a facade and roof plane variations, step backs, upper level porches, and building details that reinforce the typical character of a village center. The rhythm and scale of the upper level windows are in keeping with the residential nature of this building, while the storefront windows and patio along the ground floor of the east building will help to enliven the streetscape and visually connect the pedestrian traffic with the more public areas of the hotel. Landscape improvements, which will utilize native plants, will be made throughout the site to both enhance the visual character of the development and provide a visual buffer to the on-site parking around the perimeter of the site. Additionally, a freestanding green screen system will be located along the front of the Main Street facade of the west building to provide a dynamic living amenity along the public way. The exterior finish materials of the two buildings, while man-made, are designed to look like traditional materials. These include shingle-style siding, double-hung windows, roof trim boards, louvered shutters, porch railings, and asphalt shingles on the sloped roofs. The bridge connecting between the two buildings is set back from Main Street and is a more contemporary, glass-dominated design which helps to reduce the overall sense of building mass through its transparency. Site amenities that will contribute to the village character of the project include decorative fencing, planters, and varied paving patterns at the patio area, bike racks for hotel patrons, and public benches set at intervals along the street-lined sidewalk, both to the east and west of the entry drive. The primary drop-off and entry into the hotel is set back from Main Street between the two buildings and just beyond the pedestrian bridge. Upon entering the site from Main Street, the hotel drop-off is defined by planting areas and decorative paving and is immediately to the right in the driveway. Straight on leads to parking both to the east and west sides underneath the hotel building. The red line that's dashed on here is the indication of the hotel structure above. Only the narrowest bit of parking is located adjacent to Main Street. And this is the area in which I've described the living green screen, which will screen the parking from the public way and the pedestrians. The main floor of the hotel are the more public activities, including check-in, a lounge and function room, which have access to a patio area open to the sidewalk. This is strictly for hotel residents, but it is helping to engage the public on the public way. The building floor plans, as they are shown here, the only part of the hotel that is located at the ground level are the public functions of the hotel on the east side of the site. On the upper two levels are all of the hotel rooms, which are accessed by a pedestrian bridge at each of the levels. The buildings are orientated such that the Main Street view presents the narrow-scaled elevations to the passerby, this is the east side, the west side, and the pedestrian bridge, as seen from Main Street. The longer elevations, which run perpendicular to the street, are more internal on the site and are not viewed as with a head-on perspective. It's good. These buildings and site improvements have been designed in light of the Cape Cod regulatory policy, planning, heritage preservation, community character requirements. The project strives to incorporate and enhance the Main Street village character of Falmouth. The streetscape in front of the buildings reinforces the pedestrian travel zone, while the parking is primarily kept away from the front of the site and located to the sides and under the structures. We feel that this development will be an asset to the downtown Falmouth community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Put that back up.
Thank you. This time I would like to invite the commission staff, Jeffrey Ribeiro, make a commission presentation.
Hello, can everyone hear me? Hello? Yes, okay. My name is Jeffrey Ribeiro. I am a regulatory officer with the Cape Cod Commission. I will be going over this project for the purposes of this limited DRI hearing. The project comes to the Commission as a mandatory DRI, subject to sections 3E and 3F of the enabling regulations, as an increase in gross floor area on site by greater than 10,000 square feet. The project is being reviewed under the 2009 RPP Regional Policy Plan, which is the regional policy plan currently in effect. The project is also subject to a limited DRI scoping decision dated January 22nd, 2015. That decision was accepted as final by the Committee on Planning and Regulation at its public meeting on February 19th, 2015. I will be going over that scoping decision briefly. There were some copies at the back of the room. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like we had quite enough for everyone, but again, I will be going over it. That scoping decision limited review to the sole issue area of heritage preservation and community character. Under the scoping decision, the project met the land use requirements of the regional policy plan and our scoping regulations by showing multiple components of compact development, including the use of multi-story buildings, close setbacks to the street, limited and or shared parking, primarily with the site across the street, and having fewer than the required number of spaces on site as allowed under the local zoning ordinance, and by having a pedestrian-friendly design that encourages walking, biking, and transit being so close to town, and also having those efforts to engage the street front. For the purposes of economic development with this project, our standards primarily look at requiring that the area is comprehensively planned for such a use. The business redevelopment zoning district does allow by special permit a commercial accommodations, and therefore this project does meet the intents of the minimum performance standards under that issue area and can be scoped out of review. With regard to water resources, the project is located in an impaired watershed, that is the Falmouth Inner Harbor watershed. That requires that the project actually improve nitrogen loading on this site. This project will improve nitrogen loading overall versus the existing uses. The site is located on sewer and water service, and it also will improve stormwater treatment on site. Therefore, the project does not require review under the regional policy plan issue area of water resources. With regard to natural resources, the site is largely previously disturbed. This is the previously disturbed plan. previously disturbed in commission jargon means not natural habitat. There are some areas that may be vegetated, but they're not of a natural state. And there is no priority habitat or wetlands located on the project site. Under the issue area of transportation, we use our scoping checklist. That asks two primary questions with regard to traffic impacts. Specifically, will the project generate more than 250 new daily trips? And will the project generate more than 25 new peak hour trips at a high crash location? A traffic impact assessment was put together by Van Nass and Associates using ITE, the Institute of Transportation Engineers. That's a widely accepted and form of traffic counts based on existing uses. And that was done, reviewed by Commission Transportation Engineers and determined to be consistent with the Commission's technical bulletin on these matters, which is Technical Bulletin 96-003. That transportation impact assessment showed that the highest increases would be seen on Saturday, both in daily trips and peak hour trips. That would be an increase in or net new trips of on Saturday of 102 trips. Just for reference, again, the requirement for scoping to keep the issue area in would be greater than 250 trips. And for peak hour trips, there would only be a net new trip generation of 3 trips. So the project meets the issue area requirement of transportation. The issue areas of waste management and energy. The applicant has provided a construction and demolition plan that shows that all construction and demolition materials will be sorted and recycled off-site. The project is not located in a wellhead protection area or potential public water supply area. The project doesn't generate or store any significant hazardous wastes. And the applicant has chosen to meet the energy minimum performance standards through Energy Star and LEED certifiabilities. That checklist for LEED certifiability was received by the Commission as a condition of the scoping decision. As with our other issue areas, for the issue area of affordable housing, there is significant credit given for pre-existing uses. Here, those pre-existing uses are 11,802 square feet of retail and 7,256 square feet of warehouse. That results in a mitigation credit of $145,157. The mitigation required by this project would be $143,000. Therefore, there is no mitigation fee required, and the project meets the affordable housing minimum performance standards. There is credit given. There is credit given for pre-existing uses and to encourage redevelopment. That is one of the issue areas that does so. Transportation is another one of those issue areas. Continuing, in the issue area of heritage preservation, there are no historic structures on site and there are no cultural landscapes affected by the project. A project notification form was submitted to the Mass Historical Commission and no issues were cited. Under the issue area of historic preservation and community character, we are reviewing the project and the first 4 performance standards that I will speak to are HPCC 2.4, which is consistency with regional context or surrounding distinctive area. HPCC 2.5, footprints over 15,000 square feet. HPCC 2.6, building forms and facades. And HPCC 2.8, parking to the side or rear of buildings. These are all under HPCC Gold 2, which is community character, site and building design. With regard to consistency with regional context, the building is consistent with other larger buildings in the area by incorporating both by height and incorporating multiple stories. It is also consistent with Commission goals of redevelopment. Its shallow setback and street front amenities, its seating and plantings also support this character within a village center. And the one comment raised by Commission Historic Preservation staff was that the larger east building has a marginally smaller setback. It's just something to be considered as opposed to the west building, which has slightly less street front activation. Additionally, the building includes a connection between the two massings that is mostly glass. Modern materials are allowed under Commission regulations for this type of building. The modern materials are set back significantly, about 30 feet from the front of the buildings. And the Commission staff agrees that the glass treatment does reduce the mass of this connection. And ultimately, this connection is most desirable because it facilitates the building having two distinct massings, allowing to appear more like two separate buildings. Also, there is no single style in the neighborhood that would prohibit use of non-traditional materials. Further, the materials, again, as stated by the applicant, there are a variety of white trim pieces and asphalt roofs. The applicant is also proposing the use of cementitious shingle siding. This is a product that has been allowed by the Commission in the past. It's used on several other structures on Main Street. And for this type of building does meet our requirements under the issue area of heritage preservation and community character. HPC 2.5 discusses footprints under over 15,000 square feet. The west building is just under 15,000 square feet. The east building is closer to 25,000 square feet, but does articulate that into two distinct massings with the L shape of the building and significant variation in facades. HPC 2.6, I'm sorry, let's stay on this slide, specifically relates to the setbacks and facade forms. It requires a 10-foot setback for every 100 feet of frontage. The east building, the larger of the two, does meet these requirements with significant facade variation. The west building primarily has its variation on upper floors. So that is something that could also be considered by the subcommittee. The front facade is about 65 feet with no variation. So it does somewhat meet the requirements, but it is something that could be further discussed. HPCC 2.8 requires parking be located to the side and rear of the structures. Again, this is the street line here. There's a minimal amount of parking located here along Main Street that is largely shielded by a green screen. That green screen was a recommendation of Commission landscape staff that was incorporated by the applicant and will provide a significant buffer. The other parking is located at the rear. Commission regulations also encourage structured parking, which is another aspect of this project. The next four community character performance standards I'll speak to are landscape improvements for redevelopment, landscape plan requirements, exterior lighting, and signage. The applicant incorporated a significant number of pre-application comments from Commission staff into their design to include greater variation in the native plant species proposed, as well as that green screen. The landscape requirements for redevelopment are to improve the character of the site. Commission staff finds that this project does improve the character of the existing site. The project also meets the functional uses of landscaping. Most of the stormwater infiltration on this site is done via hard solutions, not necessarily low-impact development. Commission finds that that is appropriate for this kind of redevelopment site within a village center. Some additional details on the materials proposed by the applicant. Benches, planters, decorative pavings, bike racks are all of the sort that have been approved in previous projects by the commission of this type. The fencing that's located to the eastern end of the project is a natural cedar product, also consistent with local materials. The applicant provided a lighting plan and photometrics that meets commission requirements regarding 90-degree cutoff, as well as full cutoff at lot lines. They are proposing this Sternberg Omega fixture using LED lighting sources. That's a fixture that we've seen on a significant number of other recent projects. They're proposing a small-scale wall sconce for certain areas, the Alpine series shown here, and all sign lighting will be done via channel down lighting by this fixture. That one's pointed up, but the fixture they're proposing is pointed down. The signage will be a wood sign. There will be one primary sign at the center of the west building. There will also be two smaller wood signs for entrance and exit. The other requirements to be approved as a DRI include consistency with the local comprehensive plan. Here specifically, the local comprehensive plan land use, community goals, and public policies as voted at the November 2014 town meeting include improving the quality of the public streetscape, guiding development into village centers, and increasing density through redevelopment. I think that this project clearly meets those three goals and is largely consistent with other aspects of the local comprehensive plan as well. There are no local DCPC, District of Critical Planning Concern, implementing regulations that apply to the project. With regard to municipal development bylaws, the applicant has submitted a draft landscape maintenance agreement that is consistent with the Town of Falmouth's nitrogen control bylaw. That nitrogen control bylaw was grandfathered prior to the Cape-wide DCPC for fertilizer control. The project is located in the Business Redevelopment Zoning District, and we're still awaiting some further input on zoning from the town planner. We give the applicant the opportunity to characterize the project's benefits. For those of you in the public, one of the other requirements to be met by the applicant is that the project benefits outweigh the project detriments. The applicant has portrayed the project's benefits to include that it furthers the town's goal of redeveloping the eastern end of Main Street. It improves the character of a blighted site. It rebuilds sidewalk and road infrastructure along Main Street and site access to Lantern Lane. It supports tourism through additional accommodations for leisure and business travelers. It employs local contractors, workers, and suppliers during and after construction. And it reduces stormwater issues on site through new structured infiltration. The applicant has advised that it expects required permits to include site plan review by the Falmouth Planning Board, a commercial accommodation special permit by the Falmouth Zoning Board of Appeals, a building permit by the Falmouth Building Department, and a certificate of occupancy also by the Falmouth Building Department. I would now turn the hearing back over to the chair, Ernest Virgilio. Those are...
Jeff. The next step in the hearing, I would like to invite comments and questions from the subcommittee at this time, please.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, I neglected to read a very important line in the public notice, and I will repeat now. The application, plans, and relevant documents may be viewed by calling the Cape Cod Commission office at 508-362-3828 to schedule an appointment between the hours of 8:30 a.m. and 4:30 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you, Jack. Subcommittee, do you want to discuss anything? You want to discuss anything at this time?
I have nothing at this time.
We'll hold off at this time. Oh, Mary Pat?
I just have one question at the moment, and that is when the architect, I believe, was, yes, there you are, was describing the interior of the hotel, you mentioned the word lounge. What is a lounge at this location? What does that mean? Is it a lounge for guests? Is it a lounge for the public?
The question, sorry. The question is, what is the lounge as referred to in the hotel, in the public space? The lounge and all of the facilities within the hotel are for hotel guests only and would serve as breakfast accommodations. They will have a function room in which they could have functions. I imagine it could be weddings or whatever would service the function room and the hotel guests. And that patio's referred to that's outside that area is all part of the hotel, strictly limited. It's not open to the public.
Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, I'd like to invite federal, state, and local officials to testify, and we'll start with federal. Are there any federal officials here this evening? State officials here this evening. Local officials here this evening. Yes, please, state your name, please.
Susan Moran, I'm a Falmouth selectman. I really have just a couple of questions. One is, when was the traffic study conducted? Was it peak summer or another point in the year?
There weren't actual counts taken. This, again, was based on IT numbers, Institution for Transportation. Excuse me.
I just want to finish my questions.
Yeah. Would you like me to complete my answer? They were done with Institution of Transportation Engineering numbers. So those are based on categorical numbers for certain types of uses. And so that's a standard practice for transportation engineers, and that's what was used rather than actual counts.
Okay, but is there not at the commission a pending traffic study on Main Street? And if so, I'm wondering when those numbers will come out.
I'm not certain. Transportation staff may be doing a study of Main Street, but that doesn't bear on a regulatory project necessarily. The normal practice for a regulatory project is to have the applicant's transportation engineer do a traffic study based either on IT or based on actual numbers, and that's within the applicant to determine which numbers they will utilize, either actual or IT numbers. And the applicant chose IT numbers here.
The second part of my question, I can't quite tell from the drawings. Is there anticipated to be parking across the street, or is it underneath the building?
The parking is handled on site, as I understand. It's not part of this project per se. I understand the applicants either own or control a property across the street, and there will be shared parking with that property. It's not part of this project per se. That project did not trigger commission review, and is therefore not part of this review.
Okay.
Excuse me.
Thank you.
Look, we're going to maintain order in this meeting, okay? We have a question and comment period. If you're on the list, you will be able to do that. Otherwise, please keep order. Is there any, just checking, any other town officials? Okay. At this time, I'm going to invite testimony from the general public. And due to the list and the yes people on it, I would like to hold the comments to 3 minutes.
We can time comments, Mr. Chair.
Your time comments, please. So, if I pronounce your name wrong, I'm sorry, but I will try my best. I believe it's Jill. Oh.
Neubauer.
Neubauer. Thank you.
You're welcome. My name is Jill Neubauer. I'm a registered architect in Massachusetts. I'm a resident of Falmouth, and I have an architecture firm of 8 in Falmouth. I'm here tonight with the support of other local architects as an advocate for well-designed buildings. I'm here as an advocate for architecture. Buildings define the built environment of a town. Design matters and beauty matters. Any building can be designed well. I want to re-emphasize, any building can be designed well. A large building has a large aesthetic responsibility. The proposed Marriott Hotel, as presented in the Falmouth Enterprise, in one limited view with no context to the street or to the neighborhood behind, is not designed well. It is not attractive, and it would not be a visual asset to our town. But it could be. It's a very important distinction. It could be. Although your regulatory agents say that it has met your criteria, it's insensitive to its abutting residential community. And that insensitivity is not illustrated in the drawings that have been shared tonight. There are very specific, controlled views of that building with no context to the west or the east on Main Street. There are no large perspectives showing that building what it looks like on the east or the west. And very importantly, there is no large perspective with context illustrating the size and the character of that building relative to the neighborhood behind it. Any architect working in an urban environment has a responsibility not to show what they think favors the building, but to show the truth of that building in a much broader context. So I say all buildings matter to the beauty, integrity, and appeal of a town. This large standalone building will matter a great deal. It will outlive us. It will have a large impact. It can be a good-looking building. It is not yet a good-looking building. We, the Architects of Falmouth, ask you, the Cape Cod Commission, to help us make sure that it becomes a better-looking building. Falmouth does not have a design review committee with aesthetic architectural authority. And therefore, a small group of architects propose to form a viable, potent, valuable voice of aesthetic support for this project. I'm here tonight as a representative of this informed architectural community, asking the Cape Cod Commission to make a formal commitment to aesthetics in Falmouth. We ask that the Marriott Corporation be required to collaborate with and gain the support of a small architects panel as a criteria for approval. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, please. What I'm going to do, when the 3 minutes are up, I'm going to tap my little, okay? I've given you a little notice that your time's up. Try and, finish your comments. But again, we want your comments and we thank you for your comments. Allison Leshin?
Allison Leshin. So I want to just back up a little bit. So the premise on which the limited DRI approval was allowed, as I understand it, was the traffic impact assessment. As Mr. Ribeiro pointed out, when a project allegedly adds less than 250 trips a day, it qualifies for this limited review. I believe the traffic assessment this decision was based on was flawed, and therefore the additional trips were grossly underestimated, and it should not fall under this review for the following reasons. It claims that the existing use, Phase Antique Co-op, generates 840 trips a day. You can judge by the reaction that, in the room, that pretty much nobody in the room believes that that's true. 130 of those trips are supposedly generated during weekday peak hours, which from what I can tell are from 7 to 8:45 a.m. The store doesn't open until 10 a.m. Both the 130 and the 840 trips are clearly fictional, but we could argue about that all day. Instead, what I think the commission should require and should have required is an actual traffic study. All they would have to do is put a hose across the end of Lantern Lane, their little counting machines, and another one where the houses start, 50 yards down the road. They could subtract, across Main Street where it enters Lantern Lane. Another one 50 yards down Lantern Lane where the residences start. Subtract the two numbers and that would give you the number using the business as at the end of the street. An actual number, which my guess is more like 30 a day, but whatever. Again, we could argue about what we think is right, but why not collect the actual data? The other thing that would give you is a baseline for the number of cars that now drive down the residential part of Lantern Lane, which as a resident of Lantern Lane, my guess is it's about 30. That would give you the baseline, and then you're going to build a hotel that generates 900 trips a day. Nobody on that hotel is going to try and get out onto busy Main Street in the middle of summer. They're going to go down Lantern Lane. So, we're going to increase traffic on that road from whatever it is, 30 to somewhere between probably 500 and 900 trips a day, which will have a significant impact on that neighborhood. Again, we don't need to be throwing around numbers that I'm making up or you're making up. We should get the real data, and the commission should have required that and should now, going forward, require that, I believe.
We can respond after.
Thank you. Deborah Siegel?
Deborah Siegel, West Falmouth. I'm confused about how the process works, and I'm hoping that you can clarify a few things. And I say this as someone who has been a supporter of the Cape Cod Commission from its inception. Before receiving any public input, you appear to have been easing the process for the developer by telling them that they can alter their submission to qualify for the limited development of regional impact procedure, which is much less onerous than the regular procedure. You also told them that if they reapplied with the current date, and that was back in November 2014, they could fall under your new regulations that don't require hearings or a subcommittee. Now, at this point, you've already approved the limited development of regional impact review. You've already asked the developer to bring shingle samples to the hearing and suggest different shrubs in their landscape plan. To be talking about such details seems to indicate that you're pretty far along in your approval of the project rather than still examining its overall impact, which surprises me. I would have thought that the commission would stay neutral until receiving public input to be certain that you have all the information needed to make a good decision. For a member of the public who sees major flaws in this application, particularly the traffic study just cited, which is what enabled the limited review, this has the appearance of going through the motions of hearing the public when in fact you appear to be easing the process for the benefit of a multinational corporation and appear to have already made your decision, which conjures up David and Goliath, if you get my drift. Thus, it appears that nothing we say will have any influence on a decision already made, which makes me wonder about the transparency of the process. Is there another explanation for requesting this level of detail at the first public hearing? Can you tell us specifically how our comments will be used and whether, if they are deemed valid, you can go backward and request the regular review after all? I would like to remind everybody that your mission is to protect the unique values and quality of life on Cape Cod by coordinating a balanced relationship between environmental protection and economic progress. And I would state that this development will surely affect the quality of human life as well as the rest of the environment. And your motto is keeping a special place special. This ain't it, folks.
First of all, let me assure you all, we are a subcommittee. We are in a hearing. We take every bit of your questions and comments, and we decide and we consider. We're 15 members on the Cape Cod Commission. That goes before all full membership in everything you present and anyone else presents. We discuss. We examine and we discuss. Thanks, John. We're 17 members. I mean, I've only been here 17 years. I figured that one. Jane Abbott, I got that correct?
Jane Abbott, I live in Woquoit to the east. I perhaps was misbelieving, but I always thought that Falmouth passed the bylaw change for East Main Street to encourage not only business, but additional apartments so sorely needed by the town. I pictured individual stores with the second floor apartments, or possibly like Mashpee Commons with several businesses on the ground floor and apartments above. I never dreamed of a monstrous Marriott on both sides of now peaceful Lantern Lane with a connecting overhead walkway, and all the cars parked underneath, behind, and across in the lot on Main Street. Picture them moving in and out in that small area. Importantly, I think this will diminish activity for our present in-town businesses because of the difficulty of their regular customers getting to them from the east. In discussing plans for Route 151, why perhaps not think of a Marriott out there? And I do hope the Cape Cod Commission will not approve this plan.
Thank you,
Jane
ma'am.
Abbott.
Thank you, ma'am. I have a name, Chuck Warner. Am I saying that right? You have a question mark. Have you decided? I'm sorry. Richard Payne. Richard Payne, please.
I'm Dr. Richard Payne. I've been living in Falmouth for over 50 years and am currently a resident of West Falmouth. I would like to take issue with some of the numbers used for the existing retail space in the store which is on Main Street, which will be taken over by the hotel. The area of the existing retail space, the antique co-op, appears in two places in the application to the Commission with different numbers in the two places, and in one place, different numbers in the two application versions, which I know about. The smallest of these three numbers is 14,000 square feet. It's used to calculate compensation for lack of affordable housing in the plan due to the large percentage of substandard jobs generated. Of course, a small number is advantageous to the developer because it will cost him less. The other area is used to compute traffic impact of the hotel. That is the difference between the estimated trips per day from the hotel, estimated at 900 trips per day, and from the existing store. And we've already talked about requiring traffic counts. The first application used 16,300 square feet as the actual retail space. The revised application added building storage space to the retail space to get 19,000 square feet, an increase to 17%. The Commission's threshold for whether a proposed development qualifies for the less onerous limited development regional impact review or the more extensive review process is 250 trips per day. In other words, if the new development generates less than 250 new trips per day, then it qualifies for the limited review, a much easier process. However, one of the numbers on a previous slide from Mr. Rivera was that the retail space was actually 11,800 square feet. So I'm mystified by where all these numbers come from. If when they finally took the 19,000 square feet, which included the retail space and the storage space in the building, and I believe the storage space was not supposed to be included, they got 840 trips per day. That's 805 trips per hour on the average, and I find that very difficult to believe. It's worth noting, though, that this same analysis projected a decrease of 71 cars per hour per day during peak hours. That seems hard to believe. I'd like to point out that if the store is open 8 hours a day, this represents an average of the 840 represents an average of 105 trips per hour. I'm sure the owners of the antique co-op would be deliriously happy with this many customers, but I don't believe it. Also, the 19,000 in one place is 35% greater than the 14,000 in the other, and doesn't agree with the 11,800 from Mr. Rivera's slide. I'm trying to trust the Commission, but is anybody really reading these applications?
Thank you. Dan Webb.
Hi, my name is Dan Webb. I'm a native and a year-round resident of Falmouth, and I'm generally supportive of economic development and growth in our area, but I have some real concerns primarily regarding the traffic impact of this project. Falmouth Main Street in summer is often saturated. By that I mean gridlocked. On a summer weekend, Falmouth Main Street resembles a parking lot. Not all the time, but frequently, especially on a weekend, which is when the traffic study shows the peak traffic from the hotel would occur. I certainly agree with a previous speaker that real traffic data should be used. I understand there's maybe industry standard models, but to capture peak summer weekend loads in a small tourist town, that's a pretty specialized case that a standard traffic model might not really capture very well. It seems to me that adding a 110-room hotel on top of the existing traffic load would just be a grave mistake. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I have a Janet Simmons Flagler and a maybe. Do you wish to speak Janet. Thank you. Gerald Smith.
Hi, I'm Gerard Smith. I live at 27 Nye Road, which abuts the property across the street from Main Street. I don't have any of the experience that you guys on the board do, and ladies, so I'm going on faith that you don't need me to tell you to look at real traffic numbers or what to look at. I'm just here to tell you, I live here, I love this town, and I just want you to please take into account, I abut this property directly, and a lot of us do. Some of us don't abut it directly, and I just would like you to take that into consideration. It's not up to me to tell you what to consider or not to consider, technical-wise, and I'm not angry towards you at all. I'm glad you do what you do. I thank you for volunteering, but I live here. I love this town, and that's more what you're getting. It's a large project. So far, they've been fine to me. I haven't had a problem, but it feels like it's going through committee after committee, and if I don't start saying something, I feel bad if I say something, because I'm not questioning you. I'm just trying to give you input to look at. If I don't question you, I feel like it's going to be overlooked. But I do thank you for your time, and I hope it comes out all right for us.
Gerard, I'm sorry for calling your first name Gerald.
Oh, that's okay.
Thank you.
I wrote it last first.
Patricia Gasby.
Sir, could you add one more late shower up to?
We have a time in our process where I'll ask if somebody else would like to speak.
Patricia Gadsby. I live in Woods Hole. Some of you may also know me as associated with Falmouth Farmers Market, which recently agreed to move from a more central location because it was deemed that we caused a lot of congestion. The market is open one afternoon a week. That's a short preface to the remarks that I was going to make. Some of them, questions I had have already been raised about procedural questions and also how the traffic study was done, the counts were done. I also have aesthetic concerns. My first look at what this project might look like was in the Falmouth Enterprise, this picture here, with that aerial walkway, the pedestrian walkway. And I looked at it and I thought, what does that remind me of? And I'd like to show you a second picture. I take the bus from New York to Falmouth frequently. And this is Port Authority bus station. It looks almost identical to what we're seeing here. So, and I thought to myself, well, is that really the kind of look we want in Falmouth, in a small town, and indeed in what is being referred to as a village center? And that's a question for you to ponder. Looking at some of the plans you've seen tonight with difficulty because they were so low, but also obscured by heads in the front. There were some other things that concern me a little bit. For instance, it said that there's going to be enhancement of East Main Street, engagement with the public. These are all very pretty sounding words. And yet we hear that there's going to be a restaurant or cafe or something that interfaces with the public, enhancing that engagement with the public. And yet the public cannot enter the facility, it appears. The restaurant and the lounge and so forth will be off limits to people passing by who can look in, like sort of, it sounds Dickensian almost, you know? We can look in, but we can't enjoy. And then I put myself in the place of people living in Lantern Lane. Now here's this very large building, sort of wall-to-wall building, with an opening in the middle. And I thought, well, what does that remind me of? And it reminded me of a medieval castle with a portcullis, that you have to go through this restricted area, and then you suddenly open up into an area that is quiet, very quiet, low-key residential lane with a pond, lake, sort of close by, and it's quiet and somehow very small towny, and it does not fit with this. It's almost like you're going through the looking glass, in, you know, past this portcullis, and then all of a sudden you open up into what used to be Falmouth. And so I think there's a disconnect in terms of the size and the look of this building. Not that there couldn't be a charming, lovely hotel with really nice landscaping that would enhance the look of East Main Street, that would draw people into that area, and it would be beautiful. Thank you.
Just a reminder, the 3 minutes, please. This Katharina? Mark? I can't touch it. Katrina?
Yeah. She was look like a Katrina.
Katharina? Katharina?
Catherine?
Catherine?
Catherine Crew?
No.
No.
DeLuna.
DeLuna? DeLuna? Catherine DeLuna? Okay.
Good evening. My name is Carmina Moc Muñoz de Luna, a native of Spain and an American citizen now. I live in West Falmouth, and most of the things I was going to say have been already said. I am concerned, definitely, because I think this is an imposition to the neighborhoods around where the hotel should be, want to be built. And I feel that in the last couple of years, I have seen things done in this area, in Falmouth and in my own village, that really didn't add very much to the character of this beautiful place. There is no other place in the world that I love more than this area. And what it really affects me and saddens me is to see how many things are done or not done in the name of money. And if a couple of people are going to make a lot of money to the detriment of other people, is very unfair. And it should be a win-win in terms of the impact that the hotel will have in the pollution of the village, the traffic, and more than anything else, the imposition to the neighbors. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Alexandria Wilkins, do you want to speak?
I'll pass for somebody who came in late that way.
Thank you. Leslie McDonald.
Well, I'm not comfortable doing this. We've had a lot of concern about the process, that it began last July, and we did not in town know that until your notification in the paper early in May for this hearing. So that bothers a lot of us. Apparently there's been a lot of letter writing to the proponents, but we don't know. We can make an appointment to go to Barnstable. We can go to a room and let you know what we'd like to copy for 20 cents a sheet, I'm told. Is it possible that you could make available to the people of Falmouth one set of your paperwork, maybe at the library or the town hall, so that we could come and look at this without having to drive to Barnstable on appointment? That's a question.
Yes, in fact, the applicants should have filed a copy of this locally with the planning department. So if you haven't done that, make sure that happens. That's a good point.
If you have had a year to digest their information, and we only have 90 days, I don't understand that. Why we would not be given as much time, why so much time has already been expended that we didn't know anything about. I don't know if you can answer that for me now, but it's a major concern for us. Secondly, we live on Queen Street. It's a block away from this project. I was told by a realtor that we most definitely will lose value in our property. And I don't know how many homes there are in the corridor of Main Street, but somewhere the number 2,000 sticks with me. So if 2,000 homes in this area that's going to be affected by the traffic of what comes out of the Marriott and the traffic that's avoiding the Marriott by using our side streets, and it causes our property values to go down, I think that's a detriment, and I hope you'll keep that in mind. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I believe this is Brian Ridgway.
Brian Ridgway, I live on Lantern Lane. A lot of things have been covered that I had in mind, but one that's left is the job generation for this project. The applicant has to financially calculate the percentage of jobs in this industry project to fall below the average wage earnings, which is $22.33 per hour. In this case, that number is 91%. In other words, of the 31 jobs projected to be generated by the hotel, 91% will pay less than the average wage. So if you think the hotel will be great for Falmouth because of the employment generated, not true. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Nancy Haywood. Excuse me, ma'am. We have our next speaker. Go ahead, Joe.
Planning, yeah, the information should be filed at the planning department at the town offices.
Nancy Hayward. I live in West Falmouth. I'm actually on the Falmouth Historical Commission for one more month anyhow, at which point I will be term limited. I would like to comment about Ms. Siegel's comments about the dates in your, the way you do your review. And I want to point out to you that we have this in the Friday, May 16th, 2014 Falmouth Enterprise. So there was some comment about Ms. Siegel, and whatever your review process is, this project has been around. Now, the whole procedure for this project is just somewhat incomprehensible to the local residents who have tried to follow this project. I will quote from page 16 of this May 16th, 2014 article. This is a comment that I made because I am a town meeting member and I voted for this redevelopment business. This is not what I voted for at town meeting, Nancy A. Hayward of Chase Road, West Falmouth, told the planning board. There needs to be close eye on this, and there hasn't been close enough eye on this. This is presented in the usual architect's drawing of what the project is going to look like, which is totally lacking in dimensional ability to see what this is going to do. This project is not suited for this location. I am glad for Ms. Neuberger's comments and for Ms. Siegel's comments and for all the comments that people have made. I think that we know that Lantern Lane is a neighborhood of houses, and this thing is going to be elevated over where these houses are in back. Nye Road, which is out the front of the hotel, is a neighborhood of neighborhood houses. This Nye Road was on a survey done by the Falmouth Historical Commission in the Belvedere area. These are not big, impressive American Institute of Architecture designed buildings. This is a community that's developed in Falmouth. The houses we were looking at were houses from 1850 to 1930. Two of the houses that are being demolished for this parking lot, which supposedly has nothing to do with the Marriott, and which all came before the town, except that behind the scenes, a lot of things were going on. I think the procedures for this are egregious. And traffic on the, now I'm going blank on the name of the street, that runs parallel to Main Street. In the summertime, the traffic on that street, oh, help me, Leslie, what's your street? Queen Street. Queen Street. Because of traffic on Main Street in the summertime, the traffic on Queen Street is atrocious. For one reason, people don't drive 25 miles an hour. They zip down there for that whole thing. The traffic
Thank you, ma'am.
to imply, yes, sir, I will
3 minutes,
stop.
ma'am.
I am over my 3 minutes.
Yes,
and
you are.
thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. This may be a lovely project. It is certainly in the wrong place. Thank you very much.
Like it's a Dutch name. Oh, Marriott.
Marriott. Arlene? Okay.
Beats me.
How about Elm? Okay. So, I'm sorry, come on up.
Yeah, so I'm going to defer. I just want to say that the comments have been great, well thought out. I support them all. And, I guess I do want to.
Thank you.
What was the name?
Your name again,
My name
please?
is Marielaine Elmhurst. I live on Elm Arch Way.
Okay.
It is the beginning of the season, and on Friday, it took me 3 minutes to get out of my street. I come out on Main Street. When I looked at the rendering, it does not look like a village. I mean, you can't look at that picture and say that it fits in Falmouth Village. You just can't do it. It's not possible. And I understand the hard work that's gone into this project. My question is, what happens if we don't want it? Like, no one here wants it. Well, I can't say nobody, but the people that have spoken so far don't want it. Like, what happens now? That's my question, and I will sit down.
That is why we're having a hearing, ma'am, so we take comments and we continue on with our hearings and get the best of our ability and knowledge, we work together. I've got a W. Gall. Yeah, okay. Want to do that? We good? Okay. Call for a timeout right now. At this time, we're going to take a break. And that break is going to be for 5 minutes? 5 minutes. To your attention, we're going to restart. We'd like to get this started. Who am I missing?
Jack, he's coming. You can't get past the, okay.
Jack, I figured that, hey Jack, I figured that was the only way you were going to get through. All right, I'll tell you what. What's that one right there? Oh, I got those. No, I'm good. Thank you. Thank you very much. However, I might talk, might ask you. Okay, let's quiet down and sit down, please. Before I start with the next name, I'm just going to remind you about the 3 minutes. And I'm going to also tell you that if you have written notes you would like to turn into our staff for part of the record, please do so if you would like to. And our chairman of our commission has recommended that to me. Thank you, Dick. Go. You can send them in at any time. Yep. Gold. Martha Gold. Was that Martha Gold? Was that Martha Gold? Gold. Gold.
I have a written letter I'd like to submit to the file. Thank you. Matthew Gould, Lantern Lane. So, obviously, I'm going to be very greatly affected by this project. The access to Main Street, according to the plans I've seen, is going to be very narrow on Lantern Lane, so that when the family comes in to check into the hotel and you have two families trying to get to the beach, and then I'm trying to have my cookout and all my guests come through, that's going to be a real problem on Lantern Lane itself, let alone Main Street. So I really wanted to reiterate that problem. I also think, non-selfishly, that this hotel will greatly affect the local mom and pop hotels, the Mariner across the street, the Town and Beach, all the bed and breakfasts. These people have been in business locally for a long time, a big part of the fabric of our community in Falmouth. I really think that they need to be considered in this decision as well. This is a great economic impact, as well as to skip around a little bit, I also think that my property values will be greatly adversely affected as well. And I think that comes under your purview of how you judge this project to go forward. That's all I have right now.
Thank you, sir. Mary Barry.
Hi, I'm on Queen Street, and for the other people who have been to prior meetings, I have a lot of trouble fitting my comments into 3 minutes, but I'm going to try to make it very brief. I've talked before about the amount of traffic that's going to be generated, and you know, you don't have to wait till the summer to see the traffic on Main Street. It already has started. And it backs up all the way to the library from St. Patrick's, which is the Catholic Church. I'm also really concerned about the pedestrian traffic that will be generated from this particular project. And, you know, the shared parking is across the street. So you have the heavy traffic in the summer, and then you add people that are parked across the street, or people that want to go to the harbor. And I think that's something you should really consider in addition to the traffic from all the cars. And then I would just say ibid to all of the other comments that have been made.
Thank you. Maureen Northern, have you decided if you'd like to speak? No. Okay, thank you. Dave Wagner.
I think I was next to I really want to say it without being a dead horse. I support these people completely, and I would yield the rest of my time.
Excuse me, sir. We need your name, please.
David Wagner?
Yes. I called David Wagner. Yeah, that's me. Okay. Yes.
He can have 30 seconds of my time.
No, but I still, before you, sir. Sir, in the back of the room that stood up and spoke. Would you please give your name and address, please?
Cliff Northern, Northgren, precinct 2, 50 plus.
Thank you very much, Chris. I see you left a question mark, so I wanted to make sure I didn't miss you.
I appreciate that.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, sir.
Thanks. High enough. Yeah, I was going to say. Hi, Dave Wagner, Falmouth Heights. I just think it's kind of funny that we're all here opposing this and we're still even considering it, but you know, as we go ahead. It's not a local place, it's a corporate. We've already had a corporate move into the area. I think it's called Walmart. We've seen the wonders that's done to the town, so thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. Having grown up at a bike shop that is now on the verge of going out of business and becoming a community service because its profit margin is Walmart level. This place is going to be all-inclusive, having its own breakfast and, you know, breakfast lounge and pool and everything else, which is off limits to us, so it does nothing to us. It's, you know, it's great to look at and stuff, but it's going to do nothing as we drive by. All it's going to do is cause a lot more traffic, especially coming from the blind turn at the Dunkin' Donuts. As you turn that corner, you come up to that area. Just getting water, just going in and filling up the water, the refillable 25-cent water, I've had enough trouble pulling out of that area onto Main Street. And then actually trying to pull out in the middle of summer is ridiculous. Half the time I will sacrifice my shocks and go the other direction, but I don't prefer that. You know, I do want to get home before it gets dark. The whole idea of the traffic study is theological. I mean, you're going on a hypothetical. So is Santa Claus. I mean, so all right, that's fine. But basically, if there's not going to be an increase in cars, why do you have to have the people go above them? Let them walk across Lantern. Let them get hit by the cars that are going to be coming in and out of that place all day. Serious. But all right. Anyhow, yeah, the money doesn't go back into the community. It's going to a corporation. So it's not like it's locally owned by Ma and Pa or anything like that. You have the Mariners across the way, Mariners Motel. Town and Beach up the street, Shoreway Acres, and then you also have the El March Inn. Oh wait, that's closed. That's a good place for it. Why can't they just buy that, remodel it, and there you go? Or perhaps they could take over the location of the Nimrod. Isn't that historical? Oh wait, look at what we've done to that. That's a wonderful little, I thought it was historical location, but nothing's been done to the Nimrod, so why not just build that up? Yeah, the location that it was, doesn't have much traffic because it was just a furniture store, and that was fine. But adding something like this is just going to add a lot more traffic, and it's going to impact all the people who own small businesses in the area. These people are going to be coming. It sounds like it's going to be all-inclusive. Like they don't need to go to Betsy's Diner, anywhere else to eat. It seems like everything's going to be in one location. Yeah, I mean, other locations that you could have put it at, the Pitch and Putt Park. I don't know what else to call it. The Pitch and Putt used to be, that location would have been a great area only because you're putting something down in that area where it's neglected. I find that part of town doesn't get as much business. For some reason, people stay up in the main part of Main Street and they don't go the other part, but anyhow. I think I'm done. Yeah, I mean, you also have the Seven Seas location, the motel that was formerly there, and that's a location that was already established as a housing location. And the last thing is, the jobs created at a rate of about $10 an hour is not a livable wage. I mean, do the math on that, and by the time you're done, you're living in a camper.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, I think this is Kevin Gerald. Is it Kevin or Kim?
I think you're not coming through the mic.
Kevin Lee Gerald?
Kevin Lee Gerald? It looks like Kevin Lee Gerald. How about
Give it to her. She says she knows.
198 Mara Vista Ave? Okay, moving on. I think this is James Callan. We've got to get, we're going to have to do block printing. How about 54 Glen Ave?
Next.
This one, what is this one? 194 Lakeview Ave? 194 Lakeview Ave? I can't read the name. Stephen Ramsden? Okay. Carla Thomas, maybe?
Hi, I'm Carla Thomas, resident of Thomas Circle in Falmouth for the last 25 years. We moved to this community because it was so charming, and we love everything about Falmouth. I agree with everybody else that this is a grave mistake, and I think everybody in this audience agrees that the traffic study that was completed is grossly inaccurate, and I would recommend and strongly urge the committee complete an independent traffic study done by an independent contractor. Thank you.
Thank you. Melissa Wagner? Melissa? Wagner?
My name is Melissa Warringer. I'm from North Falmouth, but I do all of my everyday activity in downtown Falmouth. My biggest concern is that this is a really sharp, intelligent community, and I believe they've been sold a bill of goods. I don't know how it happened. We pay attention. Worse yet is I believe that somehow you have been sold a bill of goods. And I just hope that we can get to the real truth of what these facts are, verify the facts. I don't know what mechanism it would have to take place, but I really hope that takes place. Thank you.
Thank you. Scott Lindell.
Yes, I'm Scott Lindell. I represent I'm on the Bikeways Committee in town here, and I have a lot of concern that pedestrians really weren't considered in the traffic study. And the traffic study entirely leaves me cold and really casts a lot of doubt and about the credibility of the Cape Cod Commission to accept the limited DRI process. I think that perhaps, I mean, for instance, the downtown corridor is being studied intensely now with the town and McMahon Associates. They've gotten fairly far along with the early part of their traffic study for downtown corridor, Route 28. The numbers that are in the project site, 16,000 cars per day in May, whereas the McMahon study cites 10,000 cars per day in June. There's a very big difference here, and I think that a real traffic study needs to be done to bring this process into a credible process. And perhaps it needs a full DRI instead of the limited DRI. One other question I have that I think is relevant is, was there really ever a needs assessment done for hotel rooms? It seems like there are an awful lot of hotels that are struggling to make it in Falmouth already, and we really need another large, very large hotel downtown. That's it, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Alexandria Lancaster.
Alexandra Lancaster. I live in quite the east side of town. I've lived here for over 30 years, and I've been a town meeting member for many of those years. This is my home. I make a point of coming into town to support downtown when it's much easier for me to go to Mashpee. And having this project go forward would make that trip even more difficult. So I ask that when you work on this project, to keep me in mind and the character of this town. Thank you.
Thank you. Edmund Warranty, 901 Main Street.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. My name is Edward Kirk, and I have an office at 901 Main Street. I'm an attorney. I represent two of the immediate abutters, and I wonder if I may have the permission to just put up a visual using the easel in order to make the particular point on behalf of my client.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sir?
That's one. You want me to hold one? This one. Thank you. And I just, the commission, it's the commission that I,
yeah, we want to see it.
right. My clients live at, I represent Matthew Gould. He's at 5 Lantern, and Pierre and Gisela Tillier, they live at 7 Lantern. They're on the larger schematic. They are, their numbers are highlighted in in pink. That is the hotel in the cross-hatched purple. And Lantern Lane comes down from Dillingham Avenue. I don't know how familiar you are with the area, but there's a lot of residential homes to the north. As you can see, both of my clients' properties are directly across the street from this project. With respect to Mr. Gould, it's almost in his front yard. The property that's adjacent to Mr. Gould, which is not cross-hatched, but there's a residence there, that's also part of the project. And the applicant is representing to you that that's going to continue to be used as a dwelling, but we know things can change. So I just wanted you to know, really we've had the tale of two cities. You've had the look of this project from Main Street, but there's been some very fine references earlier to what's behind it. My clients and others will basically have to travel through the middle of the hotel to get to and from their homes to Main Street. They used to have unfettered access, but the planning board, in its wisdom, decided to cut that off and leave us to the courts to fight for an easement right. So that's the impact that this project will have on these two properties and on others. It's 240 feet wide across. That's what they'll be looking at. It's 3 stories high, 110 rooms, 65,000 square feet. Almost the length of a football field, located about 30 feet from Mr. Gould's front door and maybe 60 feet from Mr. Tillier's front door. So we're going to have weddings. I won't go into the litany of the problems that this project will cause. With respect to the traffic study, what the staff has done is equate a specialty retail center with as the basis for deciding how much traffic the current use generates. A specialty retail center is basically a high-end small mall. If you've been to the site, and I don't know whether you have or not, you'll see that's not what's there. It's not even apples and oranges. So I join in everybody else in saying the staff should go back, make the applicant do a real study, not one based on a fiction. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. At this time, I wish to invite any others who would like to testify who are not on the sheet. I believe. Okay, tell you what. You're walking up to the mic, so keep coming, okay? Please raise your hand when I ask you to, and I'll pick you out of the crowd. Thank you.
Hi, my name's William O'Brien. I live in Mashpee. I read this on Friday. I knew nothing about it, and right away a red flag went up. And I said, well, I guess I'll go to that hearing on Tuesday. And I was under the mistaken opinion that Ms. Penny Pritchard, President Obama's Secretary of Commerce, was linked to the Marriott Corporation. I was wrong. She's linked to the Sheraton Corporation, I believe. So, and I only discovered this about 6 or 7 hours ago, and I tried to research. I was stuck on her, but then I swung right over to Mitt Romney. And Mitt Romney was, when he ran for the presidency, I believe in 2012, he was on the board of directors 2011 under Marriott. His salary was $1,200,000 being on the board of directors. After that, my research got a little lost. But you see, I believe he's back on the board of directors. See, so I was taking aim essentially at both Democrat and Republican, and I was hoping to have a very coherent, statement. And I don't know if it is or it isn't. But the last thing I'll say is, these corporations, they are going to drive out small business people, whatever. There's going to be unintended consequences. It's just simple as that. And that's all I have to say, because basically, huge forces move. Hotel chains, and the people, be it Mitt Romney or Penny Pritchard, they can't even keep track of it all, because it's just so many of them, and it's just a big movement. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. State your name, address, and your 3 minutes.
Yes, I'm Denise Backus. I've lived in Falmouth for 45 years. One of the things that just went very quickly by in the presentation was nitrogen mitigation. And given the state of things in this town in terms of sewers and sewer proposals, I would like to make sure that nitrogen mitigation, I'd like to know more about that and make sure that's taken seriously into account. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm sorry for pointing, but I don't have your name.
No problem. Hi, I'm Andy Garber from North Falmouth. I have basically just 2 points. One is looking at the elevations. The two buildings are neither ugly, in my opinion, nor pretty. They're kind of benign, the kind of thing that you forget. Their mass is obviously much huger than a frontal elevation gives the impression when you can see them obliquely. But they're okay. But I find the glass overpass to be an aesthetic insult. It is so completely wrong for the Cape. And for you to say being glass, you don't see it much, well, we all know that's absurd. It's in every architectural language wrong for Falmouth to have an elevated glass enclosed skywalk in Falmouth is ridiculous. And the other thing that I just want to quickly say is, I don't know, I'm not very politically involved, I don't come to many of these hearings, but this process seems so backwards to me. I cannot believe that we're seeing light fixtures when there is so much grassroots, legitimate complaint about this whole concept, and we're talking light fixtures. There's something really wrong with that process. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Robert Dugan, and we actually own the property directly abutting this on the east side. As far as this site goes, this project is just too dense for the location. I know that they looked at other buildings in the area. They looked at the brick bank that was built. That's not a 24-hour operation. They looked at 704 Main Street. That was an affordable housing project. There were a lot of waivers on that because they wanted to bring the housing into the area. A project half this size, with the traffic generation that would be, would still be a problem at this intersection. You have Nye Road across the street that's barely 18 feet wide, that right now when you come onto Main Street, you have to cross into an opposing lane. You have on that plan a queue area where they're pulling into the office. How many cars are going to be able to stand in that queue line before they start backing up onto that Main Street section? We already have a backup with the Dunkin' Donuts drive-through across the street. And a gridlock in that area of town is going to gridlock all of the main downtown location. The businesses downtown are going to have a problem. And I worry also about response time. Our fire station is based on Main Street. Our police station is based on Main Street. If you have a gridlock in those areas, there is no way you can't say that there's going to be a response time that's going to be lessened to get to these different neighborhoods. The back entrance to the police station comes out at the back entrance of that Lantern Lane neighborhood. As far as the architectural on the building, I do have a large issue with that glass-dominated bridge. And from reading some of the reports, it almost seemed like it was the commission that suggested it go to a glass-dominated bridge versus what they had planned previously. I didn't realize by looking on the plan it was 2 levels. I just assumed it was a 1-level bridge. I don't see a need for a bridge at all. There's no reason that they can't delete the bridge from that site plan and have the people walk on a crosswalk directly across to the parking garage or to the hotel. I have questions on the plan, on the site plan on landscaping. On the east side of that plan, it shows a pathway coming from Main Street that goes all the way down the sideline. Is that a public path for the access to meeting rooms in back? How is that going to be regulated? They show some fencing on the site. For a 3-story structure, a 6-foot cedar fence is not a good buffer to keep people within that site. So there's just so much on this plan that you could, if you could read all the reports. Our notice that we got as a direct abutter was when this meeting was going to take place. I did what the notice did. I made an appointment to go up to the Cape Cod Commission to see the plans. I understand you say the plans are at the planning board. I had no luck getting any copies of any plans from the planning board. Cape Cod Commission was very helpful getting us the information, but you basically get led into a room. They put 4 or 5 folder files a foot thick on a table, give you a square of sticky memo pads, say mark every page that you think you want copies of, and then when you come back, we'll tell you when you can come back and pick them up. So it's just very difficult. So I think all that information that's pertinent to this project has to be locally where people can access it. I also want to know about the trees on the lot if the project goes forward. I think any of the really large trees that are there, if they're planned on taking down, there should be a way they can move them to other sets of the site to make more of a buffer. And again, that Main Street gridlock, I'm just really worried about the business community in general. This is also one project that borders residential neighborhoods. Most of the other projects downtown don't do that. So there will be a cost effect to all the residential neighbors, not only on the Lantern Lane side, but also on the Nye Road side. If part of that is going to be shared parking for this hotel, you're going to have people cutting down Nye Road and cutting onto Queen Street, which then blocks up our traffic to the harbor.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Peg Robichaud. I live on Nye Road, 3 houses down from where that parking lot is supposed to be put. I came to the zoning board meeting earlier in the year, last year, and went through much discussion about the traffic going up and down Nye Road is going to be increased a considerable amount. There's at least 9 to 10 school-age children living there that play in the street constantly. They're always cutting across, playing games in the street, riding the bikes, walking. The sidewalks are terrible on that road, so people walk in the street constantly because the sidewalks are so bumpy. They have to catch the bus up at the corner, right by the gas station there. I have to worry now about the traffic coming in and out for the hotel, running over my daughter, my son. My 15-year-old son wanted to be here tonight because he feels so strongly about this. The impact on the neighborhood is going to be immense. The noise from Main Street, I can hear it. I'm 4 houses down. I can hear the noise just from Main Street itself, much less a full-time hotel overnight with people in and out during all times of the night, especially during the summer. The amount of people that actually walk down to the harbor so they don't need to drink and drive, which is a good thing, but the people who walk down to all the local bars along the harbor, the foot traffic and the noise outside my house at night already right now is ridiculous. 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, there's groups of people walking by making all sorts of noise. I'm picturing hordes of people from the hotel, wedding parties, whatever, traveling down Nye Road, down Queen Street to get to the harbor, go bar hopping. It's going to be an all-night fiasco. My kids already complain that they can't sleep because of the noise. So off-season, the traffic is going to be terrible up and down the street. Right now, we already have people tearing up and down the road. The amount of foot traffic and noise at night is going to increase during the summer. The off-season, I have to worry about my kids and the school buses. My daughter's going to be she's 12 years old, she'll be going to Lawrence School. If I try to send her walking, she's got to try to cross the street with all the traffic going around that corner there. It's already a nightmare just to if we try to go to Dunkin' Donuts and cross the street, it's just, the traffic's crazy. And people do not always stop for the crosswalks. You have to make sure you're looking, otherwise you take your life in your hands. The safety issues are huge, and I really, really ask you to consider the life of the residents living there. It's really going to have a great impact on us.
Thank you. Okay, I see a couple of hands up, and it's getting later on into the evening, so please hold your comments to 3 minutes. I believe, ma'am, excuse me, ma'am, you had your hand up first. Yeah.
Thank you.
My name is Rebecca Moffett, and I'm a selectman here in Falmouth. And I just have one question after listening to all of the residents. Has it been considered to have another location for this Marriott hotel? Does anyone know that answer? Have they looked at any other areas away from our main street, out on Route 151, Thomas Landers, Brick Kiln, any of the areas that wouldn't be as it is on our main street? Because as each person is speaking to you, the summer traffic has started, and all of us notice that. And the other thing that I would say, wherever you're going and you're listening in other towns to any issues, I think tonight in hearing the residents speak, that they were absolutely fantastic in their thoughts. And what is a surprise, I haven't heard anyone to come and endorse it. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir, you, go ahead. Yeah. Yeah, I saw her.
Sitting too long.
You want to speak?
You ready? My name is Keith Schwagel. I'm on Queen Street. I first want to set the record straight. The Cape Cod Commission staff person who made that wonderful presentation on behalf of the developer, he said there was a hearing on the traffic study. I went there, I looked on your website, you said a hearing. When I went and checked, I was told it was a meeting. It was never on your website. It was never advertised. No one knew about the traffic study meeting. So just that got through, slipped through somehow conveniently. The first thing is your traffic study assumes that the existing streets can handle the existing traffic. It can't. So any increase at all will only make the problem worse. Because if you believe the study that they did, if we have 4 more hotels on this main street, we will have solved the traffic problem downtown. We're actually having a decrease in traffic with this hotel. In the last part, I want to make a comment is that the act that established the Cape Cod Commission specifically says, and they use the term shall be consistent with the regional policy plans and local comprehensive plans. And I'm going to say shall be. That was what you guys were supposed to follow. However, when you read the Falmouth Comprehensive Plan, it says, and I'm going to paraphrase here, the extension or additional establishment of strip development shall not be allowed. And it says that any development without increasing traffic congestion will not be allowed. Whether it's 1 car, 2 cars, or 200 cars, that's an increase in traffic. I don't think your staff has served you well. I think they took a flawed study that took an existing model that doesn't fit what this antique store generates in traffic and tried to fit it to a particular study that they wanted to see the results, and they got it. In the file, it shows that the staff made an extraordinary effort to help the developer avoid the more intense traffic study. That's clear in the email exchange between the staff and the developer. They have not done you any service at all. I think they have failed you in this case. For whatever reason, they're trying to do as less work, and it's causing problems. Thank you.
Thank you. Ma'am, with your hand up, you have had your 3 minutes.
Hi, my name's Susan Clements, and I live in Falmouth. I was born here. And all I'm asking is that the commission take a look at the people that are here, that their hearts and souls are here in town. They're in Falmouth. It was a small community. We kind of still feel that way. But this building on Main Street it's not wanted by the people in Falmouth. And I hope that the few people that were able to show up tonight and the many that weren't, that you hear what they're saying, that it is not wanted by the people in Falmouth. And thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to, seeing no more hands, I'm going to turn to the subcommittee. I'm sorry.
You forgot me.
That's right. Oh, I'm very sorry. Very sorry. No.
I'm Bertha Manson. I live in Seacoast Shores. I don't feel it's going to make, I don't feel this Marriott Hotel is going to make a difference on Main Street because I have more traffic in Seacoast than anybody else does. And I've been there 25 years and I've seen the traffic. And we need jobs. We need younger families that are leaving due to jobs. Woods Hole has a bed and breakfast that Falmouth runs it. Traffic, construction backs up to Seacoast Shores Boulevard on 28. With the construction we have on 28, we need the Marriott Hotel because it brings jobs and opportunities to grow, and it brings training to grow. And we'll have jobs, which we don't have on Cape Cod. And that's why I want Marriott Motel to be in.
Thank you. And once again, I apologize. Okay, at this time, I'd like to remind you that any written notes, you can turn it to staff for part of the record, or you can certainly send in notes to Cape Cod Commission officers. At this time, I'm going to ask the subcommittee if there are any further comments or questions. Mary Pat, let's start with you. Do you have anything? Roy?
Nothing this time.
Yeah.
No, sir. Nope. I have none.
Hearing none at this time, I would like to discuss and ask for a motion to continue the public hearing to a date that we need to decide on.
Yeah, date, time, and place certain. Given the extent of the involvement tonight, I think we need a larger place than commission offices, so we should probably try to go to the Assembly of Delegates chamber.
Okay, we agree with that.
The problem going to Falmouth is we need to continue to a date, time, and place certain now.
Well, we're required to have a date and time and place. As of this meeting tonight, we need to make that motion for that reason. So, we...
Just a point of information.
Would you, I need your name, please.
I'd just like a clarification of how this might happen and whether this is a possibility. I understand you need to set a time and date and place certain tonight. And so for that reason, you want a place you know is available tonight.
That's correct.
If you set that date and time and place certain now, can that be changed to a place in Falmouth after the date and time is changed if we find a place in Falmouth that's available?
It really can. Another problem we run into is the noticing requirements. We pretty much need 21 days if we're to re-advertise, and these DRI hearings have time frames associated with them.
Okay, so what we're going to do is set a time.
I would suggest the June 25th at 6:30 p.m. at the Assembly of Delegates chamber.
Can I get a motion? Anybody want to make a motion to that?
Well, I feel very much the same way as the people here in the audience, that I think we should make every effort to have the hearing here in Falmouth. Now, we know that the schools are going to be closing probably before that date, and it would seem to me that we could book a school with a certain amount of certainty that on that particular day. Does anybody here work in the schools that know when the last day is? That same day?
No, 24th.
The 24th?
And the 25th was just proposed. Excuse me?
Yep.
Just speaking for the library, since I work here, I'm the IT director, computer cook, the IT director. Looking on our calendar for June 25th, we are open.
Well, we can actually meet before that time. I suggested the 25th because that's the next time the assembly will be free. I mean, as a staff, we'd prefer to come back to Falmouth, and I understand that sentiment. So I hope you don't think we'd move to Barnstable
I
to
understand.
make this inconvenient. Perhaps we should recess for a few moments, discuss perhaps the availability of a time and place in Falmouth.
We're going to recess for a few moments right now. Please.
Okay. Where is it? Where did it go?
And, can you check your calendars now? How does June 9th?
Can we get your attention, please?
How does June 9th sound to the subcommittee members at the Lawrence School here in Falmouth? And that's 113 Lakeview Ave, the auditorium. June 9th doesn't work for you?
Well, it's when I'm coming back. If the weather's good, I'm okay. And if it's not, I won't be able to make it back.
Oh, you'll be offshore.
Yeah.
Well, let's discuss some. I think we're.
I mean, if the weather's fine, yeah, I'm gonna be back.
Well, what nights would work?
Anything after the 9th or the 8th.
Anything after the
Even the 8th, if I could be back. Plan is to be back on the 8th.
Okay, can we go a week after the 9th then?
Yes,
The 16th?
that's fine.
Okay. Does the 16th look good to the subcommittee members?
It's fine with me.
Okay.
I can do the 16th.
Yeah, that should be okay.
May I ask a question? Does Falmouth have a I know you're from Falmouth, but do we have a representative?
Yes.
And-
He was just appointed last week.
I
His name is,
understand that, and he's not here
well,
today.
this is a subcommittee. He will be at the full commission meeting on Thursday. His name is Charlie McCaffrey.
Right, I did know that. Thank you very much.
This lady is going to
What will be the subject of this next meeting?
What's that?
What will be the subject of this next?
Oh, we'll be identifying that. It's a continued hearing.
A continuation of this hearing?
That's correct.
There'll be no new information?
What I imagine might happen is not only has the subcommittee heard, but the applicant has heard the concerns of many folks here tonight. The applicant may, based on some of those concerns, choose to address some of them. The subcommittee should also, there was a comment earlier about detriments. One of the most important pieces the subcommittee and the commission has in its determination, beside consistency with the regional policy plan, is the general determination about whether the project benefit outweighs the project detriment. So that's certainly something that the subcommittee should expect to spend a lot of time discussing at the continued hearing.
The reason for these hearings is to accumulate that information for us to make that determination. Yes, ma'am.
So you'll be taking input from us?
As we suggested, you can send anything into the commission offices that you would like to send in. We will review it.
So we will not be able to have input at the meeting that is to come?
It will be a public hearing.
At the public hearing, yes.
It is a public hearing.
Yeah.
And you will take public comments at that hearing?
Yes. Yes.
But before you decide to make a motion,
Yeah.
I don't know, did you want to give the applicant an ability to address
Well, I mean,
the
if,
subcommittee in some way? I mean, because if we're continuing this hearing,
Yeah.
there's some assumption that you're expecting the applicant to be addressing something at the next hearing. Is there anything in specific you would like them to address? If not, you don't have to give them any sort of directive, but it might be helpful. It might be helpful to give the applicant an opportunity to ask you what some of the things you might be looking for are. Again,
are we asking the applicant that this evening?
You could, yes.
Would you like to make any comments on that this evening? Can we give them time to make comments?
Yeah, absolutely. They can deal with us on the staff level every day. But I thought it just might be prudent at this point to give them the opportunity.
Direct opportunity to the
If they don't want to make
committee members.
Not at this time.
Not at this time? Okay, thank you. All right,
Okay,
I'm gonna
so-
take a motion.
A motion,
Yeah,
Just, if I could say just a couple.
okay.
go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a couple of clarification points. There has been a lot of discussion, obviously, about traffic, and, you know, we've submitted a full traffic report. There's been discussion regarding this big corporation that's made this application. Falmouth Hospitality LLC is not a major corporation. We are not the Marriott, just for everyone to be clear. The Marriott franchises their brand. And so we're privately run. You're looking at the manager right there. That's not the president and CEO of Marriott Corporation. So that's a mischaracterization. Earlier today, the attorney for Mr. Gould stood up and represented to this commission that the planning board has eliminated access and left them fighting for access. That's, again, a gross mischaracterization that I've spoken with Mr. Kirk about. That permit, which we'd be happy to provide, conditions approval on us providing access to the folks on Lantern Lane. So we will be addressing some of the comments we heard today in writing, but those were two of the larger mischaracterizations that I heard. I understand the facts kind of fly fast and loose in this forum, but some of them needed to be corrected. Thank you.
Thank you. Sir, you had your 3 minutes.
Wait a minute now.
Excuse me.
Point of procedure, though. Everybody
Point of
had
procedure,
that,
the
yes.
procedure was that you had 3 minutes to
People
speak.
gave up their time.
Okay, we're not gonna debate this right now.
It's not-
We are gonna have,
You can make a
we are gonna
comment about
continue this
somebody who's
hearing.
not here.
We are going to continue this hearing. The applicant and the staff, we do get comment from.
So at this time, if you want to make a motion to continue the public hearing to June 16th, 6:30 PM at the Lawrence School on Lakeview Avenue.
I so moved. Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed?
My
Any abstained?
reputation's on the line.
Passes. Meeting adjourned.